Welcome to War of the Weirds, a war between friends, where the stranger the discovery, the greater chance of victory. Last battle, Mystic struck first with the story of Tarab, a man whose hunger knew no bounds. Then Broomy counterstruck with the story of the Emu War. The public cast their vote, and in the end, Mystic emerged victorious. Broomy had to regroup and prepare for this week's battle. Suing God versus the fastest knife in the West End.
Hello and welcome to War of the Weirds. I'm Broomy.
And I'm Mystic.
And this is a show where we each bring in a weird thing, just tell each other about it, and you vote on which is weirder. And that's basically the thing. So...
Speaking of votes.
Oh, yeah?
There was a winner of last week's poll.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Forever Hungry Man.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I figure. Because I think that is true. That that guy was weirder than the Emu War.
The Emu War was very weird, though. But, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, just this week, found what I want my first piece of garbage media to be that you must consume.
Okay.
So, go and vote for the topic that you think is weirder from this episode. And if it's mine, then Rumi is in for a treat.
I also have a thing that I really I just find it fascinating, because I have a thing that is acclaimed that I think is incredibly abrasive that I'm going to throw your way if you
All right.
If you were to hit the loss button. But
all right.
yeah, it is all right. No,
all right.
So here's the story of mine.
All right. Is it the way you're talking right now? Because that's pretty weird.
Yeah, it is. Please vote for me. No. So, the year's 1960.
Groovy.
Barely getting groovy. You're on the edge of groove right there.
Okay, all right.
Because it was 1959, not too long ago.
True.
So Betty Penrose is her name.
Okay.
She's living in Phoenix, Arizona. Her life cruising. You're a fan?
Shout out to some Phoenicians.
Is that what they call them?
No. Nope.
I mean, I think there's no Phoenixonians. Like, what would you call them?
Yeah.
Pahonix? Pihos?
Pihos. What up, Pihos?
Probably just because I'm looking at the word and like, this is a weird word. But she's living in Phoenix, Arizona. Her life is cruising along. I believe at this point she has a husband, I think. I'm unsure. But what I do know is that it's 1960 and there's a storm in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, no.
And lightning, she was not home, but lightning struck her home and just annihilated it.
Jeez.
Oh, I thought I heard you make a sound like... like laughing. Like, what a fucking idiot.
I was sipping my tea.
Oh, I see.
Got some apricot tea going. I don't know if it's apricot or apricot, so I don't know. Just edit whatever one is correct. I'll say both right now. Apricot
I refuse
tea.
to
apricot tea.
Waste time editing this.
Put in. I just don't want to look stupider, more stupider than I am, you know?
Well, it's impossible. No. But she was, of course, upset. It was very traumatic when this happened.
Yeah.
All right? That's that part of the story.
Pretty weird.
1967.
Uh-huh.
Near
7 years later.
Yeah, you nailed it.
I'm good at math.
Yeah, you're not as stupid as I thought a second ago. Near Santa Rosa, California, Louis Gottlieb, who was a bassist and a comic spokesman, which I don't even know what that exactly means.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is that?
He was like, I guess, the lead guy when promoting this band for a very successful folk band called the Limelighters.
Okay.
Known
I don't
for
really get
what
the limelight. Like, I know that's a phrase. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why limelight. Why is that?
Because when light's green, money's clean.
Real quick, one more thing with comic spokesman.
Yeah.
I was listening to Piano Man the other day by Billy Joel, and in the line, Paul is a real estate novelist. What the heck is a real estate novelist? That sounds like the worst job. No wonder he's at a bar drinking. That sounds like the worst job. It sounds so boring. He just write about real estate? He's like, there was a house on the market today. It was sold.
My guess is, like, here, because I'm a songwriter, I think I'm like, he's a real estate novelist. So he means that he writes novels, but nobody reads them. He just works in real estate. That's my interpretation.
Oh, okay. Wow. Oh, that hurts a little bit. I felt his dream die inside.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry for laughing at you there, Paul.
Fuck off, Paul. So.
The
Limelighters, they were known for such hits as I Had a Mule and
I know that one.
17 Wives.
Wait, was that the name of one song? I Had a Mule and 17 Wives?
No,
no. Separate songs? Okay.
Two separate songs. I assume both were true at the same time, so it could have been called that.
You can't write a song about something that's not true.
that is true, though.
Yeah.
But Louis Gottlieb had so they were a successful, like, folk band in 1967, and Louis Gottlieb had a spiritual epiphany and founded a commune on a ranch that he called Morning Star Ranch.
Okay.
And he founded this commune that was like a counterculture-y hippie commune. It was very loose on rules in general.
Mm-hmm.
Hippies that, like, felt lost in life would come in and out. Stereotypical 1967 commune hippies.
Mm-hmm.
They made, like, shelters on the premises of, like, really, crappy shelters on the premises of the ranch. They took group drug trips together.
Oh, classic.
And they had a vegetable garden designed to supply food for themselves and the Diggers, who were the Diggers were a group of community anarchists in San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury. And that's just like a famous street in San Francisco where basically a lot of hippies were always there.
Okay.
So, and they're community anarchists, and they were formed to largely to feed thousands of homeless hippies living on the street.
All right.
A journalist.
Ambitious.
Yeah, those were the Diggers, which this commune is providing some food for.
Okay.
A journalist that visited the commune referred to the inhabitants as the happiness people.
Not catchy, but it is admirable. Or it is like a goal, I guess.
Yeah, you would want to be referred to that as...
yeah.
I guess, but at the same time, I don't know. It sounds like a cult.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. hello, we're the happiness people.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking to you.
Yeah.
And at its peak, like 100 people were staying at this commune.
Whoa. All right, that's a lot.
Yeah. So that was 1967. I'm just giving you a lay of the land. That's what started there. At its peak, there were 100 people. And in May of 1969...
2 years later.
Yeah. Louis Gottlieb had filed to give the deed of the Morning Star Ranch to God.
Nice.
Now, back in Arizona.
All right.
Betty Penrose is working as a secretary for an Arizona lawyer named Russell T. Tansey. Russell...
That's a good name.
Yeah.
Russell T. Tansey, here at your service.
Russell T. Tansey, attorney at law. Give me your money.
Have you been in an accident?
Yeah.
Tansey will fight for you.
Give me your money. That's his catchphrase. Just give me it.
Just give me it. We're not going to help you. Just give me your money. Just not free. Don't hire me. Just give it to me.
Russell T. Tansey. This is a holdup. So he had heard about how lightning had struck her home 9 years ago. How she felt about it. And he saw this story from Santa Rosa, California, where Gottlieb did this, had this commune. And so they decided they're going to sue. They're going to sue God.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Yeah. This is... All right. Ambitious.
So now let me read an article from the Indianapolis Star from Wednesday, May 14th, 1969. This is the headline. Deity facing California suit.
Love it.
Santa Rosa, California. An Oakland attorney has filed a $100,000 damage suit against the deity for careless and negligent control of the weather. Russell H. Tansey filed the suit by mail on behalf of Betty Penrose, who blamed God for a lightning bolt which struck and destroyed her home at Phoenix, Arizona 9 years ago. The Sonoma County clerk, issued a summons for the deity.
Who's serving his papers?
And returned it to the attorney for service.
Can you imagine being hired to serve papers and cause you just, that's just part of your rounds or whatever. You just get a stack of papers and you're filing them and you're going, and all of a sudden you're like, are you serious? Like whose joke is this? Who thought this was funny?
And then they're like, did you read who it was? He's like, yeah, God. And they're like, that's right. And then they pull up a gun and shoot him.
Yeah. He's like, Tansey, there we go. Tansey is just becoming an outlaw throughout the story here in our fictitious rendering. Yeah.
So they returned it to the attorney for service. Tansey said he hopes to win a default judgment when the defendant fails to appear in court. Quote, plaintiff is informed and believes that defendant, parentheses, God, close parentheses, at all times mentioned herein is responsible for the maintenance and operation of the universe, including the weather, in and upon the state of Arizona, and that on August 17th, 1960, defendant so maintained and controlled the weather in and around and upon Phoenix, Arizona, in such a careless and negligent manner as to cause lightning to strike the plaintiff's house, setting it on fire and startling, frightening, and shocking the plaintiff. Yeah.
All three, huh?
all three.
What's the suit? What's like $200,000, $100,000,
$100,000.
Who's gonna pay it? What happens? Does the court have to pay it?
We'll
Like,
see. Wait.
Okay.
The suit said that's from the lawsuit that was filed. Miss Penrose asked $75,000 general damages and $25,000 punitive damages.
Mm-hmm.
Tansy said the suit was filed here because God owned property in the country, the 31.7 acres Morningstar Ranch.
Oh my gosh.
Gottlieb, formerly of the Limelighters singing group, filed a grant deed last week conveying the hippie ranch to God. So that's the article.
Yeah.
Questions, comments?
I see where this is going.
And
This is insane.
When God failed to turn up in court, Penrose won the case by default. But the grant deed did not hold in God's possession.
Oh.
It was overturned. So Gottlieb still owned it at the end of the day.
Mm.
So in 1972, Sonoma County placed a permanent injunction forbidding anyone but Gottlieb's family from living there, and went on to bulldoze structures 3 times at his expense. Gottlieb had fines for not ordering people up, because it's a commune,
Right.
that just has hundreds of people or whatever.
Yeah.
For not ordering people off the land, totaled over $14,000 in fines for him. He was jailed for a week on contempt of court charges, and after that, the commune was put to an end. So that's 1972.
Okay.
2011.
Oh no!
I just noticed this. This isn't really because I doubt the veracity of this comment, but 2011, a forum member or commenter on funtrivia.com responded to a trivia question about this, saying, someone in Marin County, California deeded a piece of property over to God. She obtained the property through the court system and donated it to the county of Marin. But
yeah,
that does not seem to be what happened.
Right.
And that comment, I don't know why I didn't copy it and paste it here, but that comment also said, I worked for her for 9 years. Something like that.
Whoa.
Who knows if that is true, but I doubt it is based on everything else that has happened and is happening now. As of 2018, property is up for sale for $2.5 million.
Whoa.
By the Gottlieb's heirs.
Yeah.
So, his grandchildren, I believe, and his heirs and friends of the Morningstar Ranch are searching for someone in need of a substantial tax write-off to purchase and donate this property. But yeah, that's the story of suing God.
Well, I feel like, were they all on drugs? Is that what's going on? Was anybody in the 60s sane at all?
Here's what it was, is I don't think he saw the story, the lawyer saw the story, Russell T. Tansey saw the story of this Louis Gottlieb, gave his thing over to God. And later, like, as soon as he could, he filed. You know what I mean?
Right.
In the report, in the article, Gottlieb, formerly of the Limelighters singing group, filed a grant deed last week. See what I mean here?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there wasn't anything to sue God for before this. So suing God wasn't really a thing that they thought of. I doubt it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until they had something to gain.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure it was in bad faith that they sued God. It wasn't actually just because she was outraged at God. It was because
they were trying to get property from.
Yeah.
If he was legally acknowledged, like, yeah, okay.
But yeah, that's Morningstar Ranch.
That's crazy. Whew. Well, people. I'm almost impressed.
Can't live with them. Can't live without them.
I'm impressed at the ingenuity of this.
Yeah, there are other stories of people suing God. Just a few.
Yeah,
and basically most of the other ones are like they immediately like no.
Right. Like, we're not even gonna indulge this a little bit.
What? No.
Yeah.
But I think the judge was just like, fucking whatever. It's just the same process as usual.
Yeah.
But it's funny that they would have, if like it just fell through and the grant that he filed to give the thing to God stayed and wasn't like reviewed by judges.
Yeah.
Then she would have won that.
That's insane.
The next week.
That's crazy. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Okay. My story is about it. Well, it kind of meanders a little bit. It was originally about Robert Liston, and it still is. It's gonna diverge a little bit just to kind of give some context for the story, and yeah. So, well, but anyways, Robert Liston. He's a Scottish surgeon born in 1794.
Already a bad sign.
Yep.
A story told by you about a surgeon. Yeah.
I want to reiterate, he was a surgeon born in 1794, so he was practicing in the early 1800s. Okay?
Yeah.
Anesthesia was first successfully used in 1846.
Mm-mm-mm.
So this story is about a man who practiced before the use of anesthetics. And
where they just hit people with rocks in the head until they were unconscious?
Yeah, they like give them alcohol sometime. Really what happens is you hold them down.
Yeah.
And you tie them up. But so the important thing was speed. You have to be quick because speed was a pivotal role in survival as well as pain for obvious reasons. Like the longer you're digging around to somebody, the more of a chance they'll go into shock.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog would have been a surgeon back in the day.
Yeah, he would have been great. He would have been so
great
good.
Surgeon.
Yeah, man, he should get like a honorary degree or something.
Gotta dissect fast.
Maybe that'll be the sequel movie.
I doubt they refer to it as dissecting, but
yeah. Well, I mean that's part of it. We'll get into a section a little bit actually. Yeah. So Robert Liston, he's educated at the University of. I hate this so much. I hate this. I wanted to talk about this, but like I'm not going to go on a rant. At the University of Edinburgh, all right, which that is not how it's spelled, and that should not be how it's spoken, because it's Edinburgh. But whatever, we'll go with Edinburgh because language doesn't really exist.
It's true.
It makes me so mad. Ugh. All right.
Isn't it spelled GH at the end?
Yeah.
No?
It's
okay.
GH. It's GH.
Neither are perfect then to me, but
yeah. It should just be Edinburgh, not
or
Edinburgh. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's whatever.
We'll discuss that on our linguistics podcast.
Yeah. Check us out on
episode 200, almost coming out.
Yeah, we're pretty far advanced. Yeah. What? Never mind. I'm not even gonna go in that. So, Liston went on to become a surgeon in the Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh. He had a legacy. He was memorialized with a committee of 78 people got together and decided that they needed to make a marble statue of him, and then create a gold medal called the Liston Medal that was to be awarded every year by the council of the University College. So
was it like a giant statue?
It was a bust. It ended up being a bust. They wanted to do a full statue, but it was a bust.
78 people
decided that this is what he needed.
They're gonna make a fucking 2-foot bust.
Yep.
All right.
They were like, we definitely need to memorialize this guy, who I don't know if it's worth memorializing. I mean, he made it on the story, which means it could not have been a great career. Anyways, I couldn't find a whole lot about the winners of the Liston Medal, because apparently the Liston Medal is also something for like soccer players or something. Let me clarify
with
this.
Surgical precision.
Oh, the J.J. Liston Trophy for the Victorian Football League. Yeah, so that's awarded to the best and fairest senior player. So
I like fairness.
Yeah,
is rewarded.
How do you qualify or quantify fairness?
Yeah, shouldn't they be giving that award to the refs?
Yeah, like they're really the whatever. But so I couldn't find a whole lot about the Liston Medal, except I did find a book, which records, a little biographical section for a man named Otto May, who attended the University College Hospital and earned the Liston Medal in 1907. So at least in 1907, it existed. I don't know if it still exists today. Because it's been over 100 years. Liston was called the fastest knife in the West End. I guess it was like a play on words for like the fastest knife in the West.
Yeah.
But also this was the 1800s, so maybe that title was like the fastest gun in the West was still
being, when was the Wild West?
Still coming up. I think it was the 1800s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild West.
So, they were in the they were doing topical humor there. They were like fucking he was a hip as fuck as a surgeon.
1850s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. The American frontier. But there was the colonial era, which had some gunslingers. 1890s. Okay. So late 1800s was. Yeah. So he was a contemporary of those times, but he maybe he was called this unironically, and it just happened to stick. Like it was happening in both sections of the world. Yeah. Who knows? This was a turn given to him a little bit later in life by someone writing about him, but still, fastest knife in the West End. He was known for performing surgeries in a matter of minutes, sometimes even seconds. It was not uncommon for him, so he performed.
That's called stabbing someone, by the way.
Right. Stab you.
That's called just
surgery. I'm the fastest surgeon in the world. He was at a teaching hospital. So did you ever see like the Wolfman movie or Werewolf, like the newer one, where he's
Wolfman?
Like, no, it's like it's like Werewolf of London, but like the new. I don't know. Maybe it's called Wolfman. I don't know. It came out like the late 2000. I mean, like late 2000.
I did not see a new Wolfie movie.
Well, there is one, but there's a scene in there where, there's like the gallery, of people around, like up in little balconies watching, and they're he's like the doctor's like got him strapped on a table in the middle of the room, and he's gonna like perform surgeries on him and stuff, for everybody to watch. So it's like that whole thing. That's like where he practiced. There's
that whole show, the Nick or whatever that's on, I don't know, HBO or Showtime or some shit. That's all about old-timey surgery.
Oh. Ooh, I did not know that. But I bet the guy we're going to talk about later, Richard Gordon, has played a hand in that. I will update you at the end of the episode. I'll take a little second to do research, or update you on the next episode to see if Gordon was a contributor there. But yeah, there was no anesthesia. You had to minimize pain in order to give them a better chance of living. The longer you're working on somebody, the more they're wrestling around and writhing and screaming, and it's hard to operate under those conditions. I would know. Don't worry about that. Only, you gotta be quick. So he would walk out to perform surgery, and something that he very often said was, "Time me, gentlemen, time me." Like, that's what he's focusing on, like that.
Yeah, he's really into the speed running element.
He's
if he were around today, he would be doing Super Mario Brothers 3 in 10 minutes.
In 10 minutes, glitching through the floor in order to get to things.
He's glitching through the intestines to get through, and by glitching I mean slicing.
Yes. So he'd walk out, tell people to time him. Here's I think this is actually, is this, oh, okay. There's an article that like paints this picture. I'm gonna read you the article.
Mm-hmm.
The man is referring to Liston. The man grabs your leg and begins cutting just below the knee. He continues to hold onto your leg as one of his lackeys gets a tourniquet around it. To free his cutting hand, he clasps the bloody knife in his teeth and picks up a saw. He cuts back and forth through the bone, drops the severed leg into a bucket filled with sawdust, and sews you up, to the applause of the men sitting in the wings. As promised, they've timed the whole procedure, from first incision to clipping the loose thread from the sutures, just 2.5 minutes. That is true. He amputated a leg in 2.5 minutes, and he amputated an arm in 28 seconds. That's insane. Amputations nowadays are like hours and hours long.
Yeah.
And he's just like walks in there.
Technology.
Yeah. Also like more care and precision. But yeah, still, like, you can be in and out of the hospital in a minute, So he there's a lot. He was called the fastest knife in the West End. Richard Gordon, who I mentioned earlier, he was a surgeon, anesthetist, novelist, and screenplay writer for movies and shows that deal with the practice of medicine and popular history. So he died in like 2017. So I think he probably contributed to that show if it's been out long enough.
Yeah, man.
Looking at that. He provides this description of Liston, okay? He was 6'2" and operated in a bottle green coat with Wellington boots. He sprung across the blood-stained boards upon his swooning, sweating, strapped-down patients like a duelist, calling, "Time me, gentlemen, time me," to students craning with pocket watches from the iron-railinged galleries. Everyone swore that the first flash of the knife was followed so swiftly by the rasp of saw on bone that the sight and sound seemed simultaneous. To free both hands, he would clasp the bloody knife between his teeth. Really just like a maniac. this guy.
Like, you shouldn't, I don't know. That might be why we don't have fucking just like theaters to watch surgeries anymore. It shouldn't be a show.
Right. He's like prepared, like the people like, "Can you just do a good job of this?" He's like, "No, I've got an audience. I need to be theatrical." So this was around the same time that Dr. Oliver Wendell Holmes was going around giving speeches saying things like, "Hey, what if we worked on cleanliness and maybe like people would have less infection and then would not die after surgeries?" And then all the contemporaries at the time said, "Loser." These are some real quotes by surgeons at the time in response to Holmes saying, like, "Let's have some cleanliness standards." Surgeons operated in blood-stiffened frock coats. The stiffer the coat, the prouder the busy surgeon. That's one.
Wow.
pus was as inseparable from surgery as blood.
Ugh.
So like people are basically like people are gonna get infections, and that's just how it is.
I want pus.
Yeah.
More pus, the better. He's trying to take away my pus, and I'm not gonna have that.
The
Second
pus boys
Amendment
here.
rights, bro.
Come and take them. My favorite one: cleanliness is next to prudishness.
Yeah.
And then finally,
If you take a bath, you're a pussy.
yeah, exactly. And then there was no object in being clean. Indeed, cleanliness was out of place. It was considered to be finicking and affected. An executioner might as well manicure his nails before chopping off a head.
I don't think that would be bad.
Like maybe, I think executioners could have a little self-love too, and treat themselves.
They're people too.
Yeah. Who's to say they can't get all dressed up for the executioner or for the execution? So that's going on. Robert Liston was just like, no, I'm gonna just brandish my tools, and just keep breaking records. So to his credit, Liston was a pretty cool guy. He was pretty nice. Like I know he was like had like this swashbuckler cavalier attitude in the hospital room, in the OR, but he was a pretty good guy. He was abrupt and abrasive. He's described by Gordon as abrupt and abrasive and argumentative, but he was very friendly to the poor and sick, and he was hated by his the other surgeons in the hospital because he would take their patients when they were written off. Like they would be like, "There's no way that we can do anything for you. You know, I'm not gonna tarnish my record by trying to operate on you. You're a lost cause." And Liston would go operate on them, oftentimes being successful. And so he would kind of like rub it in the faces of his colleagues that he was.
What the fuck is? It's just like, I'm not gonna bother because I don't think I could save you. I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah,
it's like you're worthless. It's like,
yeah,
fuck you, you idiot.
They actually they became so angry at him they barred him from the wards and banished him, and he had to become a professor of surgery at another hospital.
Yeah,
which is where he made a ton of money.
I think that is to his credit.
Yeah,
I think that definitely is. Like, hey, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be the guy that saves the people that you refuse to save.
Yeah,
mainly because I'm the fastest knife in the West.
Yeah,
pew, pew. Those pews were scalpels.
Yeah, and saws. He was a pretty that was a pretty admirable trait to have. He was pretty confrontational. He was 6'2", and like just very like larger than life personality, and so he was a man of convictions, pretty strong ethics. So when he defended people that were written off, and there was a man. This is where the story kind of digresses a little bit. We'll get back to Robert Liston in a second. There was a man that worked with him named Dr. Robert Knox. Okay. Dr. Robert Knox.
I like that name.
Yeah.
Knox. Robert Knox.
His picture, if you see pictures of of him, like drawings of what he would have looked like, he's like holding up a skeleton arm. He's got definitely like mad scientist glasses, like goggle things on. He was a surgeon, physician, born a few years prior to good old Robert Liston there. He was a lecturer in anatomy at Edinburgh. He was a pretty horrible person. All right. So there was something called the Anatomy Act that went into effect in 1832. And it was like, hey, people, it kind of loosened up some things for science. Things being like dissection of bodies and how to treat corpses. You could get donated bodies. That was the thing. People could donate their bodies to science for dissection and medical exploration. because there were so many illegal corpses, or so there was so much illegal trade in corpses.
Yeah.
So Robert Knox was like, "Hey, they've made it easier for us to obtain bodies. How about I work with two people named Burke and Hare that just go on a murdering spree, and then they donate bodies to me." So, yeah, these two guys, Burke and Hare.
That's not easier. How is that easier?
They committed
What?
16 murders in 10 months. And they sold the corpses to Robert Knox for him to dissect. So he's a pretty bad guy. Also,
I think he's pretty cool, but whatever. I mean,
well, Well, here's what we'll get into. You know, we have a quote from you that might be applicable here in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, there's a leaf blower. Oh gracious. All right, hold on. Pausing this. Hold on.
Okay. We are hunted. Hunted.
I don't know if you're going to cut that out or not. You don't have to, but in case our audience doesn't know, a lot of times, right before recording, someone around Broomy's residence decides to use a leaf blower, and so sometimes we have to like make sure that's done before recording, and then here we are, happening in my own house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's just in the house.
It's outside my window, but my window is about 2 feet from my face. Yeah, so we're just the leaf blowers are the bane of podcasters, I believe.
Yeah.
So Robert Knox, this is going back to your quote here, which you were quoted in a previous episode saying like I'm in for the puns and out for the racism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Robert Knox was on a mission to justify racism through looking at like evidence for discrimination. Like,
yeah, I'm not actually in for anything with this guy, by the way. That was a joke.
No. Yes, no. In the previous episode, he had a joke. He was like, "I'm in for the puns, but I'm out for the because of the racism," and so that might be applicable here too, because this guy was like, trying to trade in corpses, and then was like, "Hey, also, white people are better," and like, all right, nope. We're not gonna indulge this. But yeah, so he tried to do that. He tried to use science to like look at like the anatomy of people, and justify his racism. But yeah, there's a real thing called scientific racism. So
phrenology, that shit.
Yeah. He also contributed to evolutionary theory. But it was really overshadowed by his racism and the murders.
Yeah, but I think that's fine.
Yeah. We can be like, yeah, we don't need to listen to what he says actually. So Liston saw. So Robert Knox was involved in these shady dealings. And there was a woman named Mary Peterson who was murdered, and Knox had her corpse, and like she within hours of her being dead, she was in Knox's dissection room, and Liston was like, "Wait, this is odd." Knox was like suspected as being involved in this, and he actually kept her body in alcohol for 3 months, where she was like displayed like in a tank. And Liston was furious about this. So he like when he saw this was going on, he knew there was like speculation about Knox's involvement in body trafficking and murders. And so he like ran up and like plowed into Knox, knocking him down, fought him, and
Wait,
then
in a car?
No.
Wait,
Just
what?
just his body. Just he ran into the guy.
Okay.
This
He ran into him.
just this 6'2" guy, just
Yeah.
like plowed into Knox and then fought him, and then took her body, like stole the body to go have her buried, like took it from Knox. So this guy's Liston's pretty good dude.
He's like a weird vigilante.
He's got weird principles, but he's overall it balances out. So here's a couple of things that here are the cases for why he made the story today. But real quick, he had 3 contributions. He became the first professor of clinical surgery at University College Hospital in 1835. Mm-hmm. That was impressive. That was because he was chased out of his current employment because he was like successfully performing surgeries on people that other surgeons were like, nah, nothing can be done. Let him die. And they were mad about that. Yeah. He performed the first operation in Europe under modern anesthesia. That was December 21st, 1846. Anesthesia was first used successfully in October of that year in America, in Massachusetts. And then, so he was the first one in Europe to use it. And he also invented a few things, including bulldog forceps to lock arteries and a leg splint to stabilize. Oh, not for bulldogs. That's just what they were called.
I thought it was just like bulldog forearms was like what you were referencing. And I was like, what the forceps. Fuck? He invented.
Yeah.
he invented the idea that they have. Yeah. Anyway.
Like, I'm going to invent bulldog hind legs. There we go.
That was me. Look at him.
2020, Mystic Monkey. It happened. I just did it. Yeah. So he also used he invented a leg splint that is used to stabilize dislocations and fractures and femurs, and that is still used today, actually.
Cool.
He had 4 famous cases as described by Richard Gordon. I'm gonna read the descriptions of the first 3, and then the second one I'll add some commentary to explain it a little bit. So number 4. He removed in a 45-pound scrotal tumor in 4 minutes.
Oh, God.
They said the owner of the tumor had to carry it around in a wheelbarrow. Yeah.
What? Like, wait. The owner of the tumor?
Right.
Did he buy it at a Walgreens?
I think when it was attached to his body.
Yeah. No, I understand what they were saying.
Yeah. It's like I want to bid on that. I want to bid on that tumor. Yeah. So
45 pounds, you say? I need that. I need that in my ball sack.
So he removed that in 4 minutes.
Oh God. I just hate everything about that.
Yep. Yeah. Just let that sink in for a little bit. You know what? I'm not going to do it, but I'm not advising people do it. But if you want to Google image that and see if there's a thing for it, there probably is. Whatever. I'll do it. 45-pound. Wow. Okay. Yeah. There's a guy. Not too long ago that had something like this. Jeez. Yeah. All right. Yeah. There are pictures.
Yeah. There's probably a reason why I didn't do it.
Wow. All right. There's a lot of pictures. All right. I'm done with that.
Yeah. I was sure that there would be. That's why I didn't.
Stop me. No. Third most famous case. He was in an argument with his house surgeon. Was the red pulsating tumor in a small boy's neck a straightforward abscess of the skin or a dangerous aneurysm of the carotid artery? Pooh! Liston exclaimed impatiently. Who ever heard of an aneurysm in one so young? Flashing a knife from his waistcoat pocket, he lanced it. Houseman's note. Out leaped arterial blood, and the boy fell. Yeah, he died. But they kept the artery, and it is on display at the University College Hospital Pathology Museum.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe
What?
because I don't know. Maybe the doctor was famous, or maybe it was because there was an aneurysm and they it was unheard of to be someone for that age.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he just slit the little kid's carotid artery, and he bled out.
Yeah, I'm glad that he objected by saying basically poopy doodle butts.
Yeah, he was
no.
He was really mature.
Yeah.
Second famous case, the 2.5 minute leg amputation that I mentioned earlier. That was number 2. However, also in his haste, he accidentally amputated the patient's testicles as well as the leg.
I mean, that's a big whoopsie.
Yeah. I mean, about 2.5 minutes. Show me. Like, this is like the timing match guarantee. Like, if you find someone that can do it in less time, we'll match it. And that's probably what happened here.
It's just like you don't need, like, some things you don't need to do that fast.
Right.
You can be not the fastest knife in the West for one guy.
Thing. Yeah.
Like, it's
true.
okay.
That's true.
To be the second fastest for a day.
Right.
Yeah.
So the trend here is cutting off testicles. The other trend is like recklessness due to enthusiasm, which brings us to his most famous case. He performed a leg amputation. All right. He, in his haste, he also cut off some fingers of his surgical assistant that was holding the leg.
That's cool.
Yeah. While switching instruments, he accidentally slashed a spectator's coat. Just the coat. Just the coat, right?
Yeah.
But the spectator was so... Like, it left like a bloody slash because he had blood on the knife. And he looked down, he thought that he had been stabbed, and he died of shock. The spectator did.
Wow.
The patient died of gangrene from an infection, and so did his surgical assistant. So this surgery is the only surgery in history with a 300% mortality rate.
Wow. I mean, here's the first thing that came to mind. That guy, the spectator,
right?
Which of course shouldn't really be a thing,
right?
But beyond that guy, why are you gonna go watch a surgery? Like, won't you be shocked?
Right. Exactly.
Anyway,
exactly.
Like, if getting shocked greatly affects you, why would you be a spectator at a surgery?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's how. Also, what were you doing that close? Like, I can understand like being in a gallery, but are you just like peering over his shoulder? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like you need. I got more fingers than this guy.
Yeah.
You need some.
You need a hand? No, I don't mean literally take it. No. Yeah. So
too late.
Yeah. So that's the story of Robert Liston. Pretty good guy. He was better, he was a surgeon, but he was like better person than he was a surgeon. He was pretty reckless when it came to surgery, but he was like a pretty stand-up dude outside of that, like, and professionally.
Yeah, he's kind of like a one of those characters that's like completely chaotic and crazy.
Yeah.
He's chaotic good, as a D&D player might call it.
Yeah.
But maybe closer to chaotic neutral at points. Like, he errs on the side of good, but his chaos leads him so astray that he really fucks up some people.
Yeah.
And kills people.
He kills, people that don't deserve it.
Yeah.
But overall, who knows? I think the good outweighs the bad. He fought a racist.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty good. Yeah, the 300% mortality rate, that's crazy to me. That's funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's like a funny concept.
I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, it is because there's so much distance between us and that event.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. So he ended up dying at he was 80 something years old, 89 or something, and he died of an aneurysm, which I kind of think is fitting because he killed a little boy by slashing open
by just
his aneurysm.
I pictured that event as you were telling it. I pictured it like a fucking anime, the sort of lines as he's swinging the scalpel across the kid's aneurysm on his neck.
He lands behind him and the little boy's neck just bust open. Yeah.
Not poo. This.
Yeah. Cool. That's all I got.
All right. So if
I need to add one thing.
What
Sorry.
is the thing?
Also in defense of Robert Liston's actions, the Mary Peterson, I think her name was, Mary Patterson, that Knox had on display in a tank, her corpse. There was apparently Knox knew her previously, and it was suspected that Knox, it says Liston assumed that Knox or some of his students had slept with her when she was alive, and that she was kind of abused or mistreated, perhaps assaulted, and then ultimately murdered, and then dissected by the man who was responsible for all that. And so Liston was especially mad, and says this offended his sense of decency. So that's when he confronted Knox. Beat him down until he was sprawled on the ground, and then stole the body to go have it buried.
And that was that body?
That was that body. Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's really that guy was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, Liston. I'm gonna say that Liston was an okay dude, and I'm gonna say that Knox was not, and it was good that he was knocked down. In it for the puns, out for the racism. Nobody likes racism.
That's our catch. That's our motto.
You got it now, Broomy.
Okay. So you can go to our Twitter, which is at War of the Weirds, twitter.com/War of the Weirds, whatever you want to do with your life and how you navigate to this goddamn Twitter poll. Cast your vote on which story was weirder. I think I'm just going to title my section Suing God.
All right.
So you probably maybe either what is it? The fastest
knife in the West.
I think that's a great title.
I think that's a good one too.
Or just his name, which we've done before.
Robert Liston. Yeah. We'll go with fastest knife in the West.
Yeah. So Suing God versus the fastest knife in the West End, right?
Right.
Or
West
fastest
End.
Knife in the West End. So go there, cast your vote. You can email us, right?
Right, at not at, but just War of the Weirds at gmail.com.
Yeah, if you want to suggest topics or strange things we have to consume if we have 2 losses in a row in one of these polls that we're talking about, which is the punishment or reward for the other person. So, with that, I'm going to say, we'll see ya on the next one.